Very casual, Annie. So we are live. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Empowering Successful Entrepreneurs. My name is Lucia, if you haven't met me before, and I have the beautiful Annie Bourke today. Annie is our guest today, and we look forward to just having a little conversation around what Annie does and how she actually helps people. So if you are catching the replay, pop in the chat replay. If you have any questions for Annie, hi there, GV. If you have any questions for Annie, please pop them in the chat because she will go back and she will answer those questions. And I'm sure that she's got some little tips for us today. But first of all, thank you for being our guest, Annie. It's lovely to have you. Could you introduce yourself and just let us know a little bit about what you do?
Okay, thank you, Lucia, and thank you also for the invitation to be your guest today. So I describe myself as the animal-human relationship enricher. So it's like a relationship coach for humans and their animals. So I have conversations with animals who are living and in spirit, and it's telepathic communication. So I help support animal parents because I can find out what's happening with their animals. So if they've had recent behaviour changes and they don't know why, I'm not a vet, I'm not an animal behaviourist, but I can actually just ask, why are you doing this? Or if they've got a health issue and the humans don't know what's going on, I can actually ask them to let me feel in my body what they're feeling in their body. So if they've got a muscle strain or they've got pain somewhere, they let me feel it. And if they're dealing with emotional issues, I can feel them too. And then the same for bereaved animal parents, I can connect with the soul of their animal in spirit. So if they weren't home when their animal passed away or they don't know why they passed away, then I can answer those questions, and that can really help with the healing process and achieve peace of mind. So I just love having chats with animals.
Pardon me. I love that you have those conversations. And if you go on over to Annie's private Facebook group, she has a private Facebook group where she does a discussion with group members every Sunday night. Is it, Annie?
I do a few different things. I do free online masterclasses for animal parents, and I'm now streaming them live into the group. So people who aren't in the group can join on Zoom, and I publicise them on Facebook and LinkedIn. And if they're in the group, then they can watch it live in the group or they can watch the replay afterwards. And yes, I'm also doing a social Sunday, and that's for just members of the group only, where we introduce our animals and share our experience of being animal parents. So
beautiful.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And not just anyone can join your group. It is for those people that are animal lovers and people that may have had an animal that passed over. So you have questions in that group which are really specific, and Annie really likes to know that you have that relationship with animals. So it's very, very dear and important to her. So, and I love that, Annie, that you have that in your membership group, in your group. You make certain that people actually have animals that come into the group and you can help them. So your business now, you're an author. Yeah. So talk to us a little bit about, you said you've got a masterclass, but talk to us a little bit about how you help people to navigate, I guess, all of those skills. There may be people out there that do have those skills that want to, quantify them or qualify them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so lots of different questions in that question.
Yeah, there was.
So yes, I have conversations with animals. So if people have questions for their animals, whether they're living or in spirit, I can have a conversation with them. So I offer conversations in a range of question packages. So if people have just got one burning question that they want to get an answer to, I offer an Ask Your Animal question, which is just the one session. Or if people have got multiple questions they want to ask, or if they've got a couple of animals they'd like to ask questions of, I can accommodate a couple of animals in the package. So they may have one animal in spirit that they want to connect with and one animal who's with them that they've got questions for. So I don't mind what combination it is. I just love connecting with them because it gives the animals the acknowledge that they're humans, care so much that they've actually arranged the session, and that changes things for them. Just having that one conversation changes how they interact with their humans. And it also gives the animals a chance to tell you what they've been wanting to tell you for a long time and just haven't had the opportunity. Because until we can communicate telepathically with them, which is how they communicate with each other, then they've got to use their eyes or body language or vocalizations or changes in behavior. And that's a really effective one to get our attention, to let us know that something isn't right. But in addition to having the conversations and presenting the masterclasses, I do have a podcast called What Animals Tell Me, where I share some of the fascinating stories I've had with animals and also connect with people who work with animals in unique ways. And then I have my Animal Communication Mentorship Program, where I'm working with animal parents and doing one-to-one mentoring with them and their animals so that they can learn how to talk telepathically with their own animals. And that's been absolutely fascinating because I work with the animals behind the scenes and prepare them for each session that we're doing, so they know what we're going to be asking them in the exercises. And then they've had time to think about how they want to answer the questions. And some of them are real overachievers. And so instead of just sending the parent one answer, they'll send them two different answers just to show that they really understand what the question is. But what it really highlights is how intelligent the animals are and their understanding of English. Some of them have a really sophisticated understanding. They've got extensive vocabularies. And I meet people who go, oh, yeah, they're a pet. They understand no and walk and that's it.
I've got a husband like that,
I'm here to tell you, and I shared this in my post yesterday, some of the answers we got to the questions in the recent sessions. We asked one of the cats to send a word starting with the letter S, and so he told his mum supercalifragilisticexpialidocious from Mary Poppins. Now, I've got no idea how he knows that. And then his sister cat for the word starting with T sent Tyrannosaurus Rex. Now, some of the words they've been sending, we don't use in everyday language.
No,
and one of them used a word that I'd never heard of before. So I looked it up in the dictionary and it's there. So they're just incredible what they know. So it just opens up a whole new world when they can tell us what they want us to know when they want to tell us.
Absolutely.
And then I also offer a program to help grieving animal parents navigate through the grief process. So that's the Overcoming Grief program, again, working with the animal parents for 3 months. That includes a couple of mediumship conversations where I answer their questions and help give them peace of mind through that, but also provide healing because that's a big part of the recovery as well. And I love doing distance healing to support animals and humans. So it's all a mishmash of all of those different things that I do, plus
your business.
and plus my 2 books, which I've got here, which people can access. And for people who are in Australia, you don't need to order the books on Amazon. If you contact me, I'm happy to send you the books, and I can also write a personal dedication in them from your animals, and I'm happy to do that. I just need a photo of your animal. That's how I connect with them, and then you get your personal message from your animal in the copy of your book. And I'm currently writing my 3rd book because the animals have taught me so much since I wrote my 1st book, so I have to write the sequel.
That's beautiful, Annie. Now, I've got a couple of comments here, so I'm just going to read these out. My dearest cat passed away a year ago, and up until this moment, I still miss and cherish her. That's beautiful, Reg. And I'm sure your gorgeous cat is still around you, Reg. And then Reg and V have a cat called Mugen. I think that's the way to spell it. And usually responds when we call him by his name. So he actually goes in the car with them when they go everywhere. They go to restaurants, cafes with him. He goes everywhere. He's like their child. And he loves it. You can see he just sits up there. He's so attentive. What he would like to hear the most is treats, not his name. So
Yeah, so that thank you for those comments. And yes, they've raised a few issues there. When our animals pass away, grief is an individual process. So there's no sort of timeline on when you recover.
Mm.
And yes, the pain does get less, but you always love them. And that link that we have with them, that bond endures. And that's what they've taught me. But fascinatingly, once they pass over, their soul continues to exist. They endure forever. So we can always connect with them. I've spoken with a dog who passed over more than 20 years ago and had a
Wow.
conversation as though he was sitting right next to me. So there is no true separation. Yes, they're on the spiritual plane, we're in the physical plane, but we can still connect with them. And then the question about names is interesting as well, because
Yeah.
sometimes our animals don't like the names we call them and they'd actually prefer to be called something else. And
Yeah.
I had to speak to a cat who lived in a Star Wars fan house and he'd been called Phantom Menace. And so he got called Menace and he hated being called Menace and he wanted to be called Harry. And so I told them that he wanted to be called Harry and they started calling him Harry and he responded straight away. So they know
Wow.
exactly what's going on. They understand everything that we say.
Yeah.
So yes,
Yeah.
whether you're saying treats or whatever else it is, they know. They're
Yeah.
just so smart.
Yeah. Very clever. Very intuitive.
Mm,
It's interesting. You were talking about they understand language, and when you travel, you see people talking to their pets in a different language, and you know that's how intuitive they are. They can go from one owner to the next and intuitively understand the language that that owner has. That they're such yeah. So it's super interesting. uh yeah, so you guys, I guess, yeah, V has just said, had a pit bull 11 years with us. He passed away late last year. He felt guilty that he just stayed inside his cage as he is a big dog, and we're afraid that he might get engaged in a dog fight. Hope he is playing freely now. I'm sure he is. I'm sure he is. But
yep.
get in
And
touch with Annie, V, because there may be something there that you can connect and find that closure that you are looking for, so yeah.
And I will just say that when our animals pass over, it's the same as when humans pass over, that we actually go through a healing process. So
Mm,
when I have the conversations with the animals in spirit, I see them running around like young puppies and young kittens. So all of
mm,
the physical ailments they may have had, even if they were fairly immobile, all of that seems to heal first. And so
yeah,
then they've got no restrictions and they're just enjoying life. And the only
mm,
thing they miss is us.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So hopefully that gives you some comfort as well. But they know that all the decisions we make at the end of life, we've got their best interests at heart. So they don't hold any grudges. A lot of people do hang on to guilt and remorse about what happens at the
mm,
end. But our animals know that we're there to help them and we're making decisions based on the best advice that we
yeah,
have. So they just love the fact that we've loved them and cared for them.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, thank you. Reg and V have both said thank you, Annie. That's made them just feel a little yeah, better in their
Mhm.
hearts. What were the challenges? When you started doing, like, when did you start doing this? Was it something that you always had as a young person?
No, it's interesting. Apparently, we all can talk telepathically to animals when we're young, but something happens as we grow up and we just stop. But it's
Mhm.
something that we can reactivate again. And
Yeah.
I didn't reactivate for ages, but I had a beautiful little ginger cat and she sadly passed away after a short illness. And it just made me feel as though I'd missed the opportunity to get to know her better. And I'd
Mhm.
always known my animals could understand me. And I used to actually say, I wish I could speak cat because I wanted to
Yeah.
know what they were trying to say back.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
anyway, she inspired me to look for an animal communication course, and I found one. And the image of the cat on the front of the website looked exactly like her.
Oh,
And I
wow.
thought, wow, there's a sign from the universe that this is what I'm supposed to do. And I've actually spoken to her since in spirit and said how I felt. She's got no regrets. That was her mission to get
Yeah.
me to go down this path of doing animal communication. And it's
Yeah.
changed my life and it's now my full time work. So I did start off very ad hoc over 12 years ago now, and just sort of communicating with my animals and other people's animals just so they could confirm some of the information that I was
Yeah.
getting. And then I've gone and spoken with animals at zoos, and that's fascinating as well, because then I can
Can
pass on
imagine.
their messages to their keepers. So, if they're not happy with the temperature in their enclosure, or if they've got aches or pains that no one knows
Yeah.
about, they can tell
Yeah.
me, and then I can pass that on. But full time in the business, I actually had a full time job, which I gave up in May last year. So I'm now working in the business full time because there's so many animals that I can help and so many humans that I can support. But as you alluded to, it has been a steep learning curve. I knew nothing about social media. And so I
Yeah.
just started my business Facebook page before my books were published.
Yeah.
And then when I launched my books, I did my first Facebook Live. I'd never done that before. And I set it all up, and I read excerpts out of the book and talked about all sorts of things, got to the end of it. And there's a message from my publisher saying, "Are you ready to start?" And something had gone wrong. And for some reason, I was the only one who could see the launch.
What you were-
Nobody else could. They're all waiting. And I was a no-show. So that was awful,
No.
but never mind. I'd booked another launch for that evening, so I did it again, and it all worked. So, but I've just done lots of different things. There's been so many opportunities, and I was off work for a long time with a few
Yeah.
injuries. So
Yeah.
that gave me a lot of time to listen to lots of workshops and meet different coaches, because there's so many different facets of business to learn about, and you're
Yeah.
just continually learning. Like I did your Canva workshop the other day and learnt things there that no one's ever told me before, and I love playing in Canva. It just
I know.
helps my
Fabulous.
creative outlet. But yeah, there's all
Yes.
sorts of things, and how to do Zooms, because I do Zoom sessions for my master
Yeah.
classes now, and I've learnt how to stream them into my Facebook group so that people
Yeah.
can watch them there. So it's all this technical stuff. The business stuff, the strategy, the marketing, but then I'm also interested in the energetic side of it, the spiritual
Yeah.
side of the business, and the mindset. So there's so many different facets that as a business owner that you need to be delving into,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
all of them together are what make your business work. You can't just do strategy. You can't just do Facebook posts.
No.
There's got to
No.
be this holistic approach. So I'm working on my YouTube station. So I've learned how to put a video up on YouTube and how to do
Well
thumbnails.
done.
And so now I can make thumbnails in Canva and I can put them on. So
Yeah, there's
um,
nothing worse than thumbnails that are like this,
yeah, I know, but it's just so interesting. But fortunately, at least with YouTube, you can say, how do I make a thumbnail for a YouTube? And there's YouTube videos on how to make a
How
thumbnail
to
for
make it.
YouTube. So
Yeah.
yeah. And people are so willing to help. Like, you can just ask people. And there's so many
Exactly.
business owners that are so ready to help support new
Yeah.
business owners learning what they need to do to
Learn and
thrive.
grow. Yeah.
And that's just been invaluable as well, accessing
Yeah.
all of that wisdom.
Yeah.
Mm.
I love what you do and bring to the online presence. Like it's just animals. I've always loved horses and cats and dogs. Like, I'm an animal lover, and listening to you talk about the passion that you have for your business and what you do truly inspires me. Because it helps me to get more grounded, as pets do. Pets are those things that keep you grounded. You can't go and put your head under the pillow for a few days. You've got to be there to look after your pets, right? So they're teaching us something every day. Do you have a hobby, or do is there something? You said you love creating things. Do you have a hobby or something like that?
I do. I love photography, and particularly animal photography. I
Okay.
don't get a lot of time to go to zoos, but when I do go, I just love spending time with the animals and talking with them and taking photos of them. So I really love that. And I love landscape photography as well. So the
Beautiful.
scenery. I don't like putting lots of people in my photos because I'm so focused on the animals and the
Animals.
scenery. And
Yeah,
people
yeah,
comment when they see my photo books, how come there were no tourists around? And I thought,
yeah.
well, I just waited till I walked out of the side of the picture. But yes, no, I love just meeting the animals and seeing
Yeah.
them, and they love connecting too. I had a lovely experience in England at a zoo, and it was a really hot day, like in the 30s, which was unusual.
Oh,
And there were
England.
tons of school kids on trips there, and a lot of them were at the lions, and they were roaring at the lions and yelling at them to wake up. It's hot, so the lions are just there fast asleep.
Yeah.
So after the kids had moved away, I introduced myself to the male and said, look, we're from Australia. We'd love to see you. Would you mind just popping your head up for a minute so we can take your photo and meet you? And he just sat up and he looked straight at me. It's a great photo. And the lady standing next to me said, oh, he's looking straight at you. And I said, yes, I know. I asked him to. She thought I was a bit crazy. But, they're happy to do that. They know who's talking to them.
Yeah, yeah, they pick it up.
And they just love the fact that you can, like, usually when I connect with a domestic animal, I'm the first person who's ever spoken with them. So for some of them, it's a bit weird and they go, oh, a human who can speak animal. But, some of them are just so excited that their parents have asked, or just honoured that their parents have cared enough about them. Just the interactions that they get is just beautiful, and they're so grateful for that opportunity to talk. And they all talk in different voices, different tones. Some of them are real practical jokers. I had to speak with a horse who ran into an electric fence, and he actually burnt himself on the chest. So he was in pain, and he said, oh, that was shocking. Now, he totally understood the pun on shocking. He deliberately said that, and I thought, well, good on him. He's in pain, but he's
making a joke.
Still working. So you just never know what they're going to say. I've had a horse sing some of her answers to me, and I'd never had an animal sing to me before. And her mum wanted to know whether she'd like to try a bridle that would mean that she would have no metal in her mouth. And she started singing Alleluia. And I was really impressed, A, that she could sing, and B, that she picked such an appropriate song to answer the question. So, look, they truly are remarkable. And that's part of my life purpose, is to raise global awareness about the importance of animals, because I want people to know that they have souls, they feel emotions.
They have feelings,
There's no coincidence they're with us. I've been finding that some people's childhood pets have reincarnated to come back to them. There will be a reason that your animal's with you. And the fact that they understand what we're saying and they love us having a conversation. And that's the most important thing I can tell everyone who watches this video, is just to keep having verbal conversations with your animals. Even though they can't answer you back verbally, they know what you're saying. And when they know that they understand, that's really empowering for them. And particularly if you're going out, you can say, look, I'm going out to the shops, I'm going to buy dog food and treats, and I'll be back in an hour. Then they know where you've gone, and then they know that you're coming back, and that just alleviates a lot of their anxiety. And they understand time. They can count down the time.
Yeah. I say that to Millie all the time. Mum won't be long. She's just going down to the shops. Yeah, I'll be back soon. And I also tell her on the bed, she lies on the end of my bed, and I always say to her, Mum loves you. You know your Mum loves you. And I whisper in her ear. She loves me whispering in her ear for some reason. I don't know what it is. She brings her ear closer so that I can tell her and whisper it in her ear. And then the hand goes up, and she's sort of like, I want to hear more of that.
They know that we love them intuitively, but hearing us verbalize it, love and gratitude are very high frequency words, and they understand the frequency of words. They're very sensitive to frequencies. Wow. And so hearing us telling them that we love them and we're grateful that they're with us, they just really respond to that. So that's and because we don't know how long they're going to be with us for, it's just something we can do every day, and just say, I'm so grateful you're with me, and I just really love you. And I tell my animals that all the time. And they just do love hearing us saying that.
Yeah. Well, Red just said, I'd rather speak with Mugen than V. So maybe V Mugen might want you to talk to him. You never know, because if you've noticed that, Reg, that, you speak, I often sing for Mugen. My lyrics, do you love me, Mugen, in the tune of Happy Birthday to You. I love that. That is so good. It's the highest form of animal. We human are responsible to every animal. Maybe that is the reason why we feel that we are connected and understand them. I agree completely. Isn't that beautiful? Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of animals we do have a soul relationship with as well. So sometimes it's not their first lifetime with us. And it's just really interesting when people have a really strong bond with their animal and they can't explain why. It's because their souls have known each other before. And to
Oh,
me,
wow.
it's just really interesting unraveling what that connection is.
Where
And
it's,
sometimes it may be from this lifetime. So I've got a couple of clients where the same animal soul has been in 3 successive animal bodies with them. And I've got one lady whose dog's about to come back for his 4th lifetime as a dog with her. And he's
oh,
told
wow.
her that he's coming back. So there's a lovely movie called A Dog's
Yeah.
Purpose. And
Yeah.
that's exactly what I experience with my clients, that the animals
Oh,
can
okay.
come back. Not every animal does reincarnate, but a lot do. So they can tell me what body they're coming back in, what gender they're going to be, what colour they're going to be, and sometimes even where to find them. So I had a cat that found a rescue cat body to swap into recently, and he was able to tell me which organisation he was at so
Oh,
that
okay.
his mum and I could find him, and she's now brought him home. He's now a girl. He's been a boy twice with her, and now he's a girl. But they've
Wow.
all got exactly the same eyes. It's really interesting.
Mm,
But again, it's just unraveling what's happened. And for people who are open to past life connections, sometimes our animals may have been our children in a past life or another relative. And so, again, sometimes we've had connections with our animals for literally thousands of years, which
mm.
explains these incredibly powerful bonds we have with them. And we just know them, and we don't know why we feel as though we know them. And it's because we do know them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we've got that connection. Yeah.
Mm.
So yes, A Dog's Purpose. It's a fantastic movie. Yeah. So anyone that's watching the replay, go and have a look at that. That's, as Annie has just said, that's what she experiences. So, do you have a short term, like, and a long term goal for the business? Like, is there, because you worked corporate, didn't you? You were in corporate
Yep.
for many years.
Yep.
So, what are they for Annie Bourke and the Communication Heart Intuitive?
Helping lots more animals and people through my programs and services. I'd love to get to a point where I'm just teaching the animal communication program, because if more people can talk to their own animals, then they won't need me to have conversations with them. They can
Yeah,
have their own conversations, but I know how powerful that will be for them and their animals, for them to be able to
yeah.
communicate. So I'd love to build up the number of people who can communicate. My longer term vision is to actually build a sanctuary for rescue
Oh,
animals,
me too.
and have somewhere where they can come and live a
Yeah,
fulfilled life, but also as a retreat for people to come and stay at, so they can learn how to do the animal
do that
communication
as well.
and
Wow.
learn how to do energetic healing with the
Mm,
animals. So, and then they'll get healing through that interaction with the animals, because animals
wow.
help us heal as well,
Yeah,
and particularly help evolve our hearts, which is
yeah,
part of why we're here on the planet, to evolve as
exactly.
well. So
Oh,
that's my longer term vision. So everything I'm
mhm.
doing at the moment is still with that in mind, and
Yeah,
having a retreat somewhere where people can come and run guest sessions, so it's not just me running
yeah,
programs all the time.
yeah.
But definitely having a place to help the animals as well, because there's so many rescue animals that
Oh,
need
yeah, yeah.
somewhere that's secure, where they're going to feel loved and safe, and
Safe, yeah.
particularly if we can talk with them and help them with releasing their energetic trauma that
Energy.
they've experienced.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so
Move and have a
that's
happy,
the
safe
plan.
place. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
So, it's gone. What was it? There was something else I just wanted to say, and I can't remember. So, if you'd like to chat with Annie anyway, please, comment in the chat with Annie, and we will make that happen, Annie, won't we? We'll,
Yep.
yeah,
So
put
people
the
can message me through Facebook. I'm happy to invite people to my private Facebook group, which
group.
is Consciously Understanding Your Animals. And as Lucia said, this is particularly for animal parents who know that their animal has a soul. They need to be awakened to that fact that they are conscious
Yeah,
beings just like we are. My email is chintuitive@bigpond.com. So you're welcome
okay.
to email me or message me. So, or you can contact me through the website, and I know that's been going across the stream at the bottom of the
Yeah.
page.
So, do you have a Calendly link so someone can actually book, yeah, a chat with you, Annie?
I just get them to email me, and then I set up a time, because I get a
Okay.
lot of clients from overseas, and it's just so tricky working out the different time zones that it's just
Okay.
easier to do it. And then I just have a Zoom chat with people and work out, you know,
Okay.
who their animals are, so I get to know who they are and what their issues are, to try and work out
Beautiful.
how I can help them and what
We've
questions they
got
need to
someone
ask.
that said chat with Annie, so I'm not sure who that is, but
Mhm.
yeah, so we'll follow that up. We've put the email in the chat so
Mhm.
that if someone does watch the replay and would like to have a chat with Annie, please use the email there, message Annie, and she will follow that through and get in touch with you. So
Mhm.
thank you, Annie Bourke. It's been really enlightening. I love having a chat with you. We first met moons ago now,
Yes,
at my first Christmas party. So it has been a journey since then, hasn't it? It
it
really
has,
has. I'm
for
just
both of
truly,
us. Yep.
yes, for both of us. So yes, but I truly love your work and all that you do. So yeah, I wish you nothing but success. And you know, whenever you have an event or anything on, please pop it into our Facebook group, Empowering Successful Entrepreneurs. We love to support other entrepreneurs in their business journey. So yeah, thank you, everyone. It's been lovely here today, talking with Annie. If you have any questions for Annie, just in the chat, there's an email link there. Chat with Annie and message, and you will receive. Thank you, V. Yeah, it's yeah, get in touch, and we look forward to next week. If we have a person, a business owner that is looking to share their message in the group, please reach out to us. We're always looking for interesting interviewees. We love people that you know, just want to come on here and share their message with us. So thank you so much, Annie. We're very grateful and love the work you do. Bye, everyone. See you next week.